hello everybody, and welcome to ProLine, direct from Las Vegas, the gaming capital of the world. I'm John Cranton, joined by Jeff Sadi, who runs Las Vegas Sports Services. It is week 2 of the NFL preseason. Got some people here who really enjoyed week 1. Jim Feist went 6-2 in week 1 of preseason, including that top play on the San Diego Chargers. And Jeff, you went 5-2-1. So we're going to talk some games. We've got 3 NFL preseason games coming up this weekend we're going to get into. Plus we have some offers. Let's start off, though, talking by some of the observations from week 1 in pro football. And we noticed that some of the odds have actually changed offshore and in Las Vegas with respect to who's going to win the Super Bowl. Green Bay Packers and the Patriots were roughly the favorites, 6-1 on the Packers, 9-1 on the Patriots in the other division. However, the Seattle Seahawks moved up a little bit to now even money with Green Bay at plus 600, or I should say they're even with 600. Hard to believe that Jeff, that's based on week 1. Is that because of what we saw, or is that just something following the money?
I think it's something following the money. You really can't base a whole lot on week 1. With the Packers, they do have something different this year. Tom Clements is calling the plays on offense as opposed to Mike McCarthy, and they racked up a ton of yards in game 1 of the preseason. So that might be one reason why it moved a little bit. The Seahawks, I really can't explain it. They didn't look too good in game 1, and I'm not sure what the reason is there. But some people just wait the exhibition season to make the bets, and it could be the money one way. It could be some big bets in that way. The Colts went from 8-1 to 9-1. They didn't look, as usual, they look pretty bad on Sunday, but you can't really tell in this preseason because some teams do the same thing every year. They have no interest in it, and they wait till the regular season to really start doing things. So, and the Patriots 9-1 now, and everything's up in the air there because we're not sure how many games Tom Brady's going to play at the beginning of the season. So a lot of these things are based mostly on where the money is going, and it's usually not so much what happens in game 1 of a preseason, Jeff.
Yeah, the Colts, I forgot to mention that. The Colts actually dropped a little bit. That's hard to believe in the AFC just based on one preseason game. They didn't play their starters. They were on the road. Don't read anything into these preseason games. It's more about injuries and how the team comes together in September. One observation I'll make with the Seattle Seahawks, this team is so talented all around. They should be the favorites with Green Bay in the NFC. The one thing that I'm going to keep an eye on, though, would be the offensive line, because that was the big move they made in the offseason. Traded Max Unger, their starting center, for that tight end from the Saints to upgrade the offense. But this is an offense that struggled badly to run the football in the first week of preseason. They had 89 total yards against Denver. Big home favorite, lost the game straight up, just 3.7 yards per carry. Now, granted, there was no beast mode. Marshawn Lynch didn't play, but still, if you look at some of the offensive line ratings around the NFL for teams, Seahawks are rated in the bottom 5 as far as offensive line talent and depth, and one publication has them actually dead last, which is amazing. On the other hand, they were rated poorly in the bottom 10 a year ago, and it didn't matter. They led the league in rushing. But still, for a team that is a run-first heavy offense, to lose a guy like Unger and be rated suspect, that's something that I'm going to be watching the rest of preseason, and certainly in September. Can't do the Seattle Seahawks have some trouble running the football when Lynch is in there as opposed to a year ago when they were so good at it. Okay, let's get into some of the games here for week 2 of preseason. I'm going to start off with a Saturday game. You got a pair of undefeateds as the Ravens and the Eagles meet. This game will be held in Philadelphia, second straight home game. These teams had no trouble putting up yards and points in week 1. Philadelphia, a 4.5-point favorite here with a total of 44 before we went on. There was no betting lines up, and Jeff, you were looking at this game as being maybe Philadelphia a slight favorite, a 1.5, and yet it opened much higher than you thought. How do you see this game?
Yeah, line up at 4.5. That's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, especially for a preseason game. John Harbaugh is 20-9 straight up in preseason, 17-11-1 against the spread. His games have gone over 9 out of the last 12 games. Quarterback rotation after Flacco, it's Matt Schaub and Bryn Renner. Renner had the game-winning drive in week 1, 14 plays, 80 yards, 5 out of 12. Flacco was 5 of 6 for 33 yards. Schaub was 11 of 18 for 134 yards, a TD, and an interception. Ravens got to a 14-0 lead, but they're in their second-team defense let the Saints back into the game, even though Drew Brees wasn't playing. It was Luke McCown at the quarterback position. Harbaugh is 3-4 against the spread, 5-2 straight up in game 2s. And overall, in the preseason, 9-4 against the spread as an underdog. Last year in Game 2, the Ravens beat Dallas on the road, 37-30. The Eagles are averaged 35 points a game last year in preseason. They scored 36 on Sunday. So Baltimore played last Thursday. Eagles play Sunday, so the Ravens have an extra 3 days there to rest and prepare. Chip Kelly is 5-4 straight up and against the spread in preseason. 1-1 in Game 2. Matt Barkley was 12 of 20 for 192 yards. Tim Tebow 6 of 12, 69 yards. I'm not crazy about Tebow being back in the league, but and Sam Bradford didn't play at all. So looking at this, the way that how much the Eagles score in preseason, and the fact that the Ravens' second string defense didn't do so hot last week, I'm going to take this game to go over the total, John.
I'm going to take a look in that direction too, because I have no problem at all with the offenses. Both teams have terrific quarterback rotations for preseason August. You got to love Flacco and Schaub, a former starter here, as a terrific 1-2 punch. And then last week, despite the fact they do have some wide receivers banged up, 3 of the top 4 wide receivers are either injured or not playing. It didn't really matter against the Saints last week. They had 360 total yards, very good balance. They lost the turnover battle 2-0, but still it didn't matter. They scored 30 points. Schaub in particular was a very sharp 11 of 18, passing 134 yards, 1 touchdown. The over is now 8-3 for the Ravens in these preseason games. They really don't hold back in preseason on offense. They let the football fly. And then you get the Eagles, who have the best quarterback rotation in NFL for August, which we talked about last week. And here's a team that last week against the Colts, they were terrible on third down, 3 of 14, and the defense had some problems, allowing 136 yards rushing. But when you're 3 of 14 on third down and you still score 36 points, over 400 yards, that's that Chip Kelly hurry-up offense, very deceptive on offense, and just a great quarterback rotation as far as depth and experience. Sanchez, Tebow, Kinney, and Barkley, when we didn't even see Foles play yet, or Bradford, I should say. So this is a team that is just loaded at the quarterback position. I can't be looking at a defensive or conservative type game based on the way these coaching staff play. And as you mentioned, Philadelphia Eagles 11-2 run now over the total in these preseason games. I know it's a high total, but hey, it was last week against the Colts, and they got over, so I'm going to look at the Ravens-Eagles also over the total. All right, before we get to our other game, which is going on Sunday, I want to remind everyone that if you're watching this video on YouTube, the Jim Fice YouTube homepage is called Sports Betting. You just click on the subscriber button above us, and whenever a new video is posted, you'll be notified updates of free plays as a subscriber.